Okay, so to pick up from like 2 episodes ago, I guess, I can say that, so my like custom, my own tabletop RPG, my own like space or science fantasy setting that I want, if I want to talk about it more. It's like, I mean, I don't want to like get into too many details. I'm genuinely amazed. Like, I'm pretty sure I haven't let the name slip, which is insane. But yeah, it's actually called yeah, and it's a real deep cut. No, but I don't think I've shared anything like, oh, the evil empire hates magic but has a magic-focused, division or battalion, and it's a whole thing. I don't know, I've been trying to figure out, with my OCs, I have, like, this whole setting, and it's basically, like, that I want to use for my OCs. It is basically like a, what's it called? It's just like a sandbox playground, creator's playground type deal, where I can just, there is a character who can just make anything happen. And any, like, oh, I want to do this story, but I don't want to have the consequences of that story happen. Yeah, there can just be, yeah, they just snapped it out of existence. So it happened, but then it got fixed. Any, like, permanent magic got undone. And, it's not that big of a deal. But I also want there to be character growth and whatever. The thing is that I want that setting to basically be a soft start, a soft launch of that setting, of the science fantasy setting. And actually, like, and in all reality, actually, like, it's a system, and there are some planets that are, like, at different, like, technology levels. But also, I haven't really played around with that idea at all. So it's just one setting. Just say that, like, basically, so there's the evil empire, there's the marquee systems, and the, in the science fantasy thing as a whole, the OC setting is limited to one system for reasons, but there are different planets. There are different habited planets that have different technology levels. But yeah, in the science fantasy, there's the evil empire, there is the marquee systems, and the free systems. And, barring maybe there'll be, like, different factions. I think, like, the idea was always that there would be, the free systems would have their own little, they would have their own, like, alliances that would form factions. And I don't think there would be any, like, faction that is predominantly, like, one race. Because the idea is that there are alien races, but none of them achieved space exploration before humans. Maybe there are some extinct races, but I kind of just really like the idea. I think it's kind of unique that, yeah, no, humans were the first to achieve, space exploration. And, like, and I guess, like, to explain my thought with that, is that I do like War of the Worlds. The entire point of War of the Worlds is looking at colonization from, the, indigenous population's experience. It's that there's some dude with extreme technology comes in and waves their dick around and does whatever they want. And I mean, I do want that to be kind of a thing, and to be like, yeah, no, like, the free systems are basically more or less like, yeah, no, that's fucked up, and like, we do not want to be a part of that because it is fucked up, and that is like a horrible thing. And the marquee systems are the free systems, but caught like in between. You know, they are the marquee, they are the line between, they are the war zone between the place. And it's not necessarily an active war, but the Empire is like a war. And you know what, I guess I do have to think about how the marquee systems work. But the idea is that all the systems have their own trade, in my mind. Also, I need to think of this economically. Every system is a completely self-sustaining island. Like, there is not... I don't think realistically there is any... Like, until you get into, like, millennia, which is not, like, several millennia, like, tens of millennia, decades of, tens of thousands of years, I don't think you're going to, like, run a planet dry of resources, probably. Like, I don't imagine, like, 20 billion people being the population of a capital system. Like, they're not, like, super, super huge. Like, 20 billion might be the population of Earth in that setting, the origin point of, you know, of humans. Sure, maybe, probably not, but, you know, it theoretically, sure, it could be. Whatever. But yeah, like, they're like an entire system. You know, there's not really like a supply line necessarily to cut off, but there is trade between, because not everybody's going to have the same things. And, like, you know, if you're dealing with giant, you know, well, there's always going to be a need for alliances, I'm sure. And there are not necessarily, like, no system is going to be, you know, each system should have a relatively unique culture, but it's not like super, super insane. You'll definitely see, like, oh, you can only get this from this system. You can only get this kind of food item in this system because that's where they make it. You can only get this weapon because this weapon originated from this system because that's where the factory is from. And I do kind of want, well, there's a lot to unpack, but well, yeah, there's a lot more to unpack there, but at the same time, systems aren't like, they're not reliant on, oh, all of the salt in the universe comes from this one system. No. And yeah, there might be like, yeah, well, we can like focus on having less iron production because this system has more, and we can focus on, you know, polymer creation because they don't have enough or whatever, and that just a basic thing there. Sorry, what I really wanted to say, what I really wanted to like just say so I could have the thought of it, is that I want the evil empire is like dictatorial fascist, or like a fascist oligarchy, probably a fascist oligarchy that does suffer from like semi-frequent infighting and, like, you know, propaganda, super propaganda. Everybody thinks that Earth is great and the Empire is amazing, magic is evil, and the free systems are all, you know, like, horrible places. And the free systems are actually, like, they're not super well off, but they're like a moderate, like, socialist sort of thing. You have your, like, basic rights covered, but you know, like, there's free healthcare. There's free healthcare, there's free food, like universal basic income, universal, you know, food protections, universal healthcare, universal education, all that stuff. But it's also like there are classes, but they're not so, like, deeply divided. Like, there is, like, you know, being poor is not, and, like, I don't know, because there's, like, a lot more history and understanding that I don't have, that I really need to look up. Or I'm just gonna look like a complete idiot, which right now I probably do. But, like, there is a class system, there is corruption in the government, there is absolutely, you know, whatever, but each system is independent, and each system is a little bit different, but for the most part, like, if you're poor, you are, you're surviving, and you're kind of thriving. Like, you can go out, you can watch a movie, but, you know, you're not going to go out and watch a movie every day of the month. You're going to watch a movie every week or something. You're not going to... Oh, we've ran into the border. Cool. My god, I think... Sorry, I'm just looking at it, I'm like, holy shit, I think I've just been, like, talking way too long. And been... Like, this has been the rant episodes. Isn't the worst thing in the world, honestly. We'll go here and just walk back, or maybe teleport back. But yeah, also, like, but yeah, and, like, you know, it goes up, that's, like, you know, you're like, you're poor, you're working class, not poor, but, like, you know, working class, and then you're, like, merchant class, and then you're, like, noble class, or, like, I guess millionaire class, really? Like, corporate class? Higher corporate class? / politician / whatever. But there's, like, an actual, like, social contract that's, like, hey, like, the higher tier need the lower tier, and we have to, like, you know, account for them, and they need to be... We need to account for them, you know, and they will account for us. And, all that jazz. And, like, it's not great overall, but, like, you know, it's not the Empire where there are absolutely, like, you know, like, you're living in, like, little cube containers. You're living in little cube containers, and then there is a middle class of, like, you know, like, ex-soldier, of, like, veterans, of, but only veterans that are, you know, like, indoctrinated, or whatever, and all that jazz. I guess I have to further think about it more, right? But also, it's like, you know, the...
Under fire! Damn it!
Well, okay. I mean, there's a lot of other things as well. I mean, like, nomads or flotillas absolutely exist. trading flotillas, pirate flotillas. Pirates also are a thing, and they're a frequent sort of thing as well. I don't think there would be any, like... Well... I mean, like, there would... I don't want to write racist characters. I don't want to write... necessarily, like... I don't know. I don't want to write, like, that much, like, conflict into the thing, but, like, conflict has to exist. You know, at the same time, and making an interesting conflict is also a thing. But I don't want to... I don't know. There's a whole thing about that. And stuff I want to do so I can, like, properly respect, like, the actual source material, if you know what I mean. Sorry, what was I gonna say? Also, definitely, I don't know, I really want to play around with an idea that, oh god, I sound like a fucking idiot. Or somebody who knows that they don't know enough and is embarrassed by the fact that they don't know enough because they should know more. I think. I mean, there's a lot of ways. I guess, like, I don't know, why would pirates exist in this setting? I mean, for a lot of reasons. I mean, like, there definitely have to be thrill seeker sort of, like, people, but are there people who are disenfranchised? I guess there can be. I don't know, but just, like, people who are more... But what kind of leader would that be? Like, ah, yes, you're not making enough as much as this person, but you are surviving. But you could be thriving. But I am thriving. But you could be thriving more. Join us pirates today, or... I don't know. So, like, there's certainly some things about that. There could also be any number of other things about that. I could make the pirate real fucking scum, and, like, no, they're just, like, terrible people. Potentially terrible people who are, well, also, I guess, potentially you could have, oh, these are pirates, but they're actually sanctioned by the Empire, or they were Imperials who got cut off and are in the free systems operating as, like, mobile warlords or whatever. You know, I'll just save... I wanted to talk about, like, industrial stuff. We can save that for the next episode, I guess. So until then, have a good day, great day even. Chowskis.